a quasar for an Ian or two. It's coming from the heart straight to you. Surfing on the magma, there's nothing else to do. Looking for the pole star, but I'm easily confused. It's coming from the heart straight to you. Listen to the sunset. Why is it so obscure? Used to be a gas cloud for a second or two. It's coming from the heart straight to you. Rolling on the lava, nothing else to do. Time to take a picture, but I'm easily amused. It's coming from the heart straight to you.
Set the Controls, the name of that one. They're from Glasgow, Scotland. They are the Maybes right here on Rhode Island Free Radio, online at rifreeradio.org. Before that, we heard from Blindside Thunder, Blue Agave, the name of that track. Big shout out to Blindside Thunder. They had a chance to come out and check out Tony Jones and the Cretin 3 this past Thursday night at Fet Music. George, without you amongst our ranks, we graduated to the big stage this past Thursday night. And it's a good thing that my drinking days are behind me, because if I were to fall off that big stage, I mean, it's just a ridiculously huge stage.
Okay,
There's no need for it. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, I just salt in your wounds there, and that wasn't.
You don't even want to be up there.
Wow.
I think in his twisted way, Tony is trying to console me for not being able to make it to that show.
I don't know. I think he's rubbing it in your, putting some Indian rug burns going there on your arm.
No, see, I'd be rubbing it in if I reminded him that after said show, I partook in Oneyville's original New York System wieners and a large coffee milk.
Wow.
Well, no, that's not even. The funny thing is, that's a case of great minds thinking alike, because I was at that very New York System the night before.
And you were both in the same bathroom sharing the day of. You never left the place.
Well, I've learned that once you eat there, you hurry home.
Oh, yeah. I learned that
You hurry home and
I think we've talked about it before, but you have that smell on you. I had to get a new Christmas tree for my car because I brought a wiener in the car, and all you could smell is hot wieners.
Right, that's what you do not do. I mean, you just don't do it. Whenever I have a craving for wieners, I make sure that I'm going to finish them. I have enough time to finish them in that New York System. They're not going in the car anymore. I learned my lesson.
It's like working in a decontaminant. Like, you need to eat them in a clean room, or like you go down to the Providence Piers and eat them at the end of a dock.
Yeah, I mean, there's workers at Superfund hazardous waste sites that they can get the smell of that off their clothes quicker than you can get wieners out of your car.
Man,
seriously.
I had a similar experience to that today. The Gardner Hill Insane Asylum allowed us to go out. We're doing the pizza wars there, which it's been fun until recently. The food was great, but however, the idea, I think my belly said, dude, don't ever eat this pizza called a Fall Fest pizza again.
Oh.
Because the minute I got into the parking lot and I came down 44, it was a clench your cheeks shut, press down on the gas pedal.
And he's not talking about the cheeks on his face. Folks.
No, until you got behind this stupid dump truck that was doing 25. And all I'm thinking is, dump truck, I got to take a dump. Dump truck, I got to take a dump. You need to move now. And I'm trying to get around this guy. I'm hitting every pothole. We finally get to the Gardner Hill Insane Asylum, and it was one of those finishes where if it was a second longer, the janitor would have been really mad at me. There would have been a nice spread.
That's one of the problems about living in Rhode Island is that if you have digestive issues, as it were, or maybe you've been drinking or whatever, there's a pothole everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You hit it and you're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You're trying not to do it.
Now, what do you know what brought that on? Was the Fall Fest pizza, maybe the secret ingredient, the fall ingredient was the leaves scraped up off the...
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I'm not going to slam the restaurant too bad because it was good food. I'm going to say maybe it was a dirty spigot for the alcohol because sometimes that happens. You get that old guy that doesn't clean their spigot there, and you end up with the runs. I've had that happen to me a couple times. Casey taps. That's always the possibility. It might not have even been the food, because the food was really good. Hey, you guys, shut the hell up back there before I shank you. Lacey, Nurse Misery. Yeah, no respect out of her.
I'll tell you.
None.
She's only talking when you're...
Diarrhea. He doesn't need to know. I will tell him at lunchtime about my diarrhea. We are in the same insane asylum. It'll be a great lunch topic that will scare Don away from the table with. Now, I was going to give them the secret to how Darth Vader would come back, but since being so rude like that, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Well, it's only Lacey that's being rude.
Yeah.
And that's your responsibility.
All right. So
there's no reason
I will
to deprive the rest of our listeners.
Now, you and I have discussed this before, and I know you don't like the idea.
Right. I mean, I can understand the rationale, but I don't like it.
Now, if you guys are out there and you have watched all 6 Star Wars franchise, first of all, I apologize for the first 3 on behalf of George Lucas Films. I may not be a part of them, but I apologize for that. You remember a movie called The Clone Wars. Now, key in, most of the stormtroopers are clones. If you read a lot of the books, a lot of the characters, like Jango Fett, clones. You get into it even more with some of the other guys, like the video games. They clone a character that's Darth Vader's apprentice. Now, if the dark side had any thoughts that the old Emperor or Darth Vader were going to fail on them, they would have a backup plan, just like the Nazis did during World War II. They would have an scapegoat. You are not going to get the real thing that easily on such a big target called the Death Star. They're going to have the real deal hidden away on some planet's moon that you're not going to find him. I'm saying the Vader that you see is the works of maybe a clone Vader. And the real Vader has already escaped this and is waiting for his son or daughter to take up daddy's side of it and to join family one by one in the dark side, crumble the rebel scums. It's only a matter of time. Now, if you guys are fans of the Star Wars series, which I am, you know this is only the first of 3. On top of, they're going to be doing biographies on, what the hell is this, Han Solo. They're going to do a couple other of them. And they have a new series that they're looking into making about how they get the prints for the Death Star. So if they're going back and doing that, Vader will return, maybe not in this series, but to his original role in those series. No doubt, he'll be back, because you can't have Star Wars without Darth Vader.
You can't. Not when you're... And my complaint is, I agree with you completely, you can't, especially when you're relaunching the franchise. And now, like I say, that the clone, that's a good argument. But I think you're making it needlessly complicated, because don't forget that this whole business of the light side and the dark side, it's a basically supernatural scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be scientifically complicated about bringing back Darth Vader. There's no reason why the dark side which is basically, when you get right down to it, black magic, even though I know the Star Wars universe doesn't like to talk about in those terms. There's no reason the dark side, the Sith, could not just reanimate that body armor of Darth Vader's. It doesn't matter if his temporary physical body was ashes. There's no reason that a body can't be possessed by the dark side. There's no, which is a nice
Or the Emperor taking
Emperor.
over someone.
Right. There's the whole idea of possession. We're not talking about, Satan. We're talking about the whole idea of possessed by the dark side. Because it's an intellectual thing. You give yourself to the dark side.
Right.
There's no reason the dark side can't possess a weak will.
Oh, true that. I mean, and if you look at the Emperor, I mean, for a guy in charge of the dark side, he's kind of lame. I mean, They only show a portion of his powers, like throwing lightning bolts at people.
Yeah, that was a big disappointment. I'll tell you, I don't wait in line a week for a movie, but I did wait quite a few hours to see, the third. And when I say third, we know what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
The Jedi.
Yep.
The confrontation between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and the Emperor. That was a big disappointment. That's pretty much when I got disillusioned and kind of drew back from the Star Wars franchise.
It was huge.
It was huge. I mean, so many ways. The Emperor was